Hallo, my naam is Chris Burgess, ek is redakteur van Landbou Weekblad en dit is vir my 'n besonderse voorreg om vandag 'n nuwe potgooi reeks te kan aankondig wat ons gaan aanbied saam met Impact, die voorste voorsiener van verpakkingsmateriaal vir die landboubedryf. Ons gaan 'n bietjie praat oor landbou, ons gaan praat oor uitvoerbedrywe, ons gaan praat oor familieplase, ons gaan praat oor landboukarakters so gepraat oor karakters, wie beter om hierdie potgooi reeks vir ons aan te bied as twee legendes, twee gesoute en gesiene verkoopsmanne vir Impact hier in die Kaap, Neil Hugo, natuurlik voormalige Springbok speler en WP speler, en Andrew Patterson, legende by die OP en toe later by die WP, twee manne wat hulle lewe gewy het om te verseker dat daai wêreldklas produkte wat ons boere op hulle plase produseer, so goed verpak word dat hulle veilig by hulle bestemming kom in die verste uithoeke van die wêreld. So kom reis saam met ons hier na die hart van die landbou, hier op die pragtige plase, die besonderse mense en die wêreldgehalte produkte wat ons produseer, wat Suid-Afrikaanse landbou van die beste, indien nie die beste in die wêreld maak nie, en natuurlik met twee rugby spelers, verwag 'n bietjie rugby stories tussen die plaas stories, want dit is tog immers wat die twee goed wat ons Suid-Afrikaners besonders goed doen, dan is dit landbou en rugby speel saam met Impact, 'n besonderse vaardige verskaffer van verpakkingsmateriaal vir die landboubedryf hier op die wonderlike plase van Suid-Afrikaanse boere. So, baie welkom, Neil, Andrew, thank you for being with us. So, ons wil net 'n bietjie van 'n inleiding doen. Neil, natuurlik, jy kom self van 'n plaas af, daar uit die Karoo wêreld van Victoria Wes. Gee ons 'n bietjie van 'n agtergrond van waar jy groot geword het en jou verbintenis met landbou.
Ja, Chris, baie dankie. Ja, ek het in Victoria Wes groot geraak. My ouers boer daar, het geboer daar, my broer is nog steeds op die plaas, 'n familieboerdery. Vir heel wat jare al, heel wat geslagte, so ek het groot geraak daar. Ek was op skool gewees in Victoria Wes, so wonderlike tye gehad, wonderlike kinderdae gehad, en ja, daar is dit ek weermag gegaan en Stellenbosch toe gegaan. Ja, en verder daarvanaf het ek in die professionele era van wat is in die werk ingegaan by Unifruco, by Keispan, en op die einde het ek geëindig by Impact.
So ek 'n bietjie gesels oor jou vroeë dae in die vruchtebedryf. Jy is een van die min ouens wat die ou dae nog onthou voor die regulasie. Andrew, you actually from the Eastern Cape.
That's right.
Now in the Western Cape.
Yes.
Love your rugby,
Yes.
but you also love your farming. Just quickly, a bit of a background, where you come from and how you ended up in the fruit industry.
Yeah, so I studied born and bred in Port Elizabeth. My mom still, she's 89 this year. Played for Eastern Province and then came to Western Province, and it was never looked back. Myself and Neil, we played close to 100 games together. I think Neil played 146, and I played 132, but we had really good memories when those days Province cleaned up, so it was nice. We had a lot of cups and it was good. Then I ended up at Kohler Packaging, and I got involved with the agricultural business, and I really loved it. I've been in the business for 30 years now, and we own a lovely farm as well, which we're going to talk about later, but it's a lot about people, and if you do something that you love, it's actually not work, and it's very inspirational. I think there are a few good stories that come out of South Africa, but agriculture is one, and I know, Neil, we travel a lot, we chat a lot as well, and when we leave farms, you just feel so inspired, and these guys have got a story to tell, and as you said, hopefully from this podcast that we have, people can understand more and just see what wonderful people these are, and we've got lots that they can teach us and be examples to.
Don't you think it's quite astonishing that you found yourself in working in the two industries, actually both of you, that South Africans are really good at, rugby and farming?
No, it's amazing. Most of our conversations, I must say, there are a couple of guys that don't talk rugby, but I said, right, ons moet gesels nou, hoor ek, I said, wag, vertel my, wat gaan aan met die Springbok? Of weet jy, wat het aangegaan met die loskakel, of wat van hierdie ou, as dit nee, dis wat jy doen, want gewoonlik ons ken mense wat self speel, en dan kan ons lekker stories as 'n uur later en ons is nog op rugby. Ons moet 'n bietjie pakmateriaal, maar dit is 'n wonderlike industrie en ons is baie dankbaar om daar te wees. Ook Impact, it's a goeie maatskappy, and I think we differentiate ourselves with the people. I think farming, people just want to see what's your intention, and if your intentions are good and pure, you're going to have success most of the time.
Neil, soos ek vroeër gesê het, jy kom na al 'n lang pad. Jy kan nog die ou dae onthou in die vrugtebedryf. Regtig 'n besonderse bedryf as 'n mens dink dat vandag ons net 'n rapsie meer as 50% wat ons produseer in Suid-Afrika eintlik uitvoer, en die vrugtebedryf is natuurlik 'n groot deel daarvan. 'n regtige wêreldklas bedryf wat ons vandag in die land het. Hoe het daai bedryf, wat was die grootste veranderinge oor die jare wat jy gesien het?
Ja, Chris, jy weet, ek is 1987 was ek Unifruco, ek was die eerste aanstelling by Unifruco, veral van ons ouer produsente, kliënte, praat baie keer nog van die enkelkanaal daar. So dit was nog enkelkanaal daar in 1994, die regulering gekom en weet baie meer natuurlik by uitvoerders toegetree tot die mark. So ja, ek betrokke van, kom ons sê, enkelkanaal daar tot 'n gereguleerde omgewing. Ek dink die eerste jaar was daar meer as 300 uitvoerders gewees. As ek net kyk in die sagte vrugte alleen, waar kom ons sê die Unifruco gedeelte, Outspan was citrus gewees. Jy weet, in daai jare was jou totale sagte vrugte mandjie was 35 miljoen kartonne gewees, waarvan druiwe 15-16 miljoen was, appels en pere, Trente 12-14 miljoen kartonne en steenvrugte 5 miljoen. En as jy vandag kyk, daai 35 miljoen, vandag is citrus meer as 200 miljoen. Citrus was baie soortgelyk, 35 miljoen kartonne gewees. Jou druiwe is by die 80 miljoen kartonne, steenvrugte is van 5 na 15 miljoen toe, appels en pere van sê 12 na 70 miljoen kartonne. So 400-500% groei het jy gesien van 95 na 2025 toe, wat in 30 jaar 400-500% groei. So wonderlike tye wat ek kon beleef het, gesien het hoe kliënte, produsente groei, veranderinge in die mark, veranderinge in variëteite, veranderinge in verpakkings. Jy weet, op daai stadium het jy basies 1 karton gekry, dit was die Cape karton en jy die Outspan karton gekry. Vandag sit jy met honderde verskillende kartonne, eie handelsmerke. So ja, ongelooflike evolusie wat die bedryf deur is, en Suid-Afrika, ons Suid-Afrikaanse produsente het 'n besondere plek in die mark en hulle kwaliteit, wat Andrew ook gesê het, hulle passie, weer die een oorseese koper het per geleentheid gesê, jy weet, ek onthou baie goed in Engels, hy het gesê, you must realize one thing, the whole world is full of fruit, and you must differentiate yourself for me to make a decision to buy fruit from you. En dis wat ons Suid-Afrikaanse boere, produsente baie goed doen, ons is passievol, ons lewer 'n goeie produk, ons verpak die produk in die karton, in die verpakking, wat die mark dit wil hê. So ja, dis ongelooflik waar jy uit 'n gestandaardiseerde wêreld eintlik gekom het 30 jaar terug, wat jy per kliënt 'n verpakking doen.
Andrew, it all sounds familiar to you. I mean, what is it that makes South African farmers so astonishingly good at what they do?
They are tough. They are very tough and they're resilient. I was in series about, I think, to the 9th of February, and we were at the Gibson's farm, and a day later they got wiped out with hail, completely wiped out. And obviously guys get emotional about it, and you go and see Raymond Gibson the next day, or the 2 days after, he said, "You're on the go, Paddy, it's happened, we move on. That's life." And then you drive off and you think, slip it high, guys lost like 800,000 cartons, and he just picked himself up. I'm fortunate enough, I've travelled quite a lot. I'm in Groblersdal quite a lot. There were horrific hailstorms there, huge floods, the Landkloof as well. And now these guys just pick themselves up and don't feel sorry for yourself. I remember Oscar Wilde did a famous thing, I've never seen a wild thing lying, dying in the snow, feeling sorry for itself. Boere curl themselves nie jammer nie. They pick themselves up and always leave a farm and think, yes, I've got nothing to moan about. And I think it's contagious what they're doing. And we've seen the younger generation, 4th, 5th generations coming through. and you can see that Easter is in the system with the sons as well. So it's very exciting and stimulating, even after so long. It's awesome coming to farms like we're on now as well, and just seeing how tough these people are.
Jy dink julle daar is 'n parallelle wat 'n mens kan trek, en 'n mens wil dit nou nie oordoen nie, maar ek luister na Andrew oor ons gaan lê nooit. En as 'n mens dink na die laaste wêreldbeker, hoe ons daai 1 punt wedstryde gewen het, dink jy daar's 'n parallel wat 'n ou kan trek tussen ons rugby en ons landbou, dat die ouens net nooit gaan lê nie, dat hulle jy weet dat hulle verstaan hoe belangrik dit is wat hulle doen, of maak 'n mens nou hierdie punt nou bietjie te kwaai.
Ja, nee, ek dink definitief, Chris, jy weet, soos Andrew ook sê, jy kry, jy weet, die risiko's van boerdery is daar. Jy weet, jy kry droogtes, jy kry reën, jy kry al, jy min waaroor jy regtig beheer het. En ek het baie min in my lewe het ek al negatiewe boere teëgekom. Almal is positief. Jy kan nie negatief, dis jou besigheid, dis sy passie. So ek dink daar's ongelooflike die twee, soos jy ook in die begin gesê het, wat Andrew ook genoem het, rugby, mense is passievol oor rugby. As jy boer, jy kry nie 'n boer wat nie passievol is oor wat hy doen nie, dan doen hy iets anderster. Ek dink die uitdagings is te groot, jou risiko's is te groot. So as jy nie passievol is om te wil boer nie, dan is daar regtig iets anders wat jy moet doen. So definitief, ja.
So die passie is een ding, Andrew, van die boere en van die rugby, maar wat vir my, what is a real eye-opener to me is the passion that Impact has for packaging. Now, for somebody that's grown up in a sheep farm, a bit like Neil up in the Northeastern Cape, I've never had a full appreciation for the science behind packaging, because growing the fruit is one thing, but then you have to get that fruit, you have to get it to a market in Amsterdam, for instance, or to Europe. And there's so much that can go wrong. And I never had an appreciation for the science behind it until I actually visited your plant in Cape Town, the science that goes into packaging. Just give us a sense of how that has changed and what makes Impact such an incredible partner to farmers, because without your packaging, 50% of the equation isn't there, correct?
No, for us not. So packaging is actually boring. If you look at it, it's paper and it's a box, and as Neil said, that's the box that you use. But nowadays, with all the challenges, things have changed. I think with the grapes, I was looking, it's like 14 different types of punnets, and 12 different types of 4.5 kg cartons. Now, with all the challenges in the ports that we're going to discuss later, that fruit needs to be cooled down, and it needs to do the job that it arrives overseas in 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, sometimes 12 weeks. I heard some of the fruits arrive in 70 days over there. So we have a whole innovation department and a research department that makes sure that the carton is fit for purpose. So we've made packaging exciting again. We don't just come to this price, this box. No, this carton's different. It can cool down so much, it can take so much load. If you pack it this way, you can get another 2 layers on. And by the way, if you use this carton, you can get another pallet on there without compromising strength. So suddenly now farmers are saying, hang on, it's not just a money game. There's a science behind it. And it's with berries as well. How quickly do the berries need to be cooled down? It's high value. It's going overseas. You only pack a half pallet, so it doesn't need to take it. So our discussions with most of the farmers is quite a scientific and researched discussion. It's not just a random thing saying this is the price. So we try and differentiate ourselves with our people. And I believe we're not copy and paste guys. You don't get another Neil Licho or Andrew Patterson. We give everything, and our teams give everything as well. And that's how we try and separate ourselves, because the cartons is a carton, but we like to say ours is better and we can research it better.
Yeah, I can say, Chris, it's not just a carton. I would say maybe 30 years, 20 years ago, or maybe it was a carton, but today it's a solution that we offer a client. So perfectly for his customer, for his client.
Wat 'n bevrediging gee dit vir jou, Neil, om 'n jy weet as ek byvoorbeeld van Landbouweekblad by 'n kongres sit en ek sien 'n boer lees 'n Landbouweekblad, dan gee dit vir my regtig so van 'n warm gloed. Jy weet dat ek eers 'n bydrae gemaak het aan daai boer se werklikheid. Wat 'n bevrediging gee dit vir jou om daai verpakkingsoplossing, want dit is wat dit is. En ek het julle daai verpakking gesien wat julle in die verskepingshouers kan inpak, maar dit mooi perfek inpas. Wat 'n bevrediging gee dit vir jou om daai oplossing vir 'n boer te gee wat 'n hele seisoen gesukkel en gesweet het om daai vrugte te produseer, en jy kom met hom met 'n oplossing te sê ek kan seker maak dat daai vrugte veilig in Europa aankom, en jy het so 'n oplossing tot.
Ja. Ek is baie definitief. Jy weet, soos Andrew voorheen verwys het, ons het 'n innovatieafdeling, 'n baie sterk groot innovatieafdeling. So vir impact is dit ook baie belangrik om die hele tyd te innoveer, met oplossing, met voorstelle te kom en vir kliënte aan te bied. En ons kry op 'n gereelde basis terugvoer uit die mark uit, van al die verskillende markte wêreldwyd oor aankomste van kartonne. Ons monitor dit in koelkamers, hoe vinnig dit die vrugte afkoel, kwaliteit ensovoorts. So ek wil sê van elke karton wat uitgelaai word, is dit vir my as iemand wat by Impact werk, is ek trots om 'n Impact karton vir 'n kliënt aan te bied. En jy weet dan wat Impact Andrew en myself en ons te baie sterk span kollegas in die veld ook. Jy weet ons is naby aan ons kliënte. So ons het 'n baie goeie verbintenis, 'n baie goeie verhouding met ons kliënte. So ons verkoop nie net 'n karton nie, maar ons verkoop ook die mens agter die karton. En as daar enige iets is wat die kliënt met ons wil bespreek, of iets wat vir hom nie werk op daai stadium, iets wat ons dadelik wil aanspreek, so is basies 'n volle sirkel met 'n karton wat, soos ek sê, in die mark vir hom in sommige gevalle premie van, kom ons sê, in die oosterse markte wat ek kan kry as gevolg van 'n mooi sterk karton.
Andrew, we've got to wrap up, but just I still want to speak a bit of rugby before we go. But Neil was talking about that satisfaction about being able to offer a farmer a solution. Just give us some insight, because there are obviously quite a few fruit farmers that will be watching this podcast. The technical side of farming. You know, I was up in the Durance a while back with the table grape guys, and astonishing technical attention to detail that goes into that, into ensuring, especially the eastern markets where the fruit needs to be great exhibits. Just give us some sort of, what is the most technical fruit farming there is when you're looking at the different fruits? Just give us some sort of idea.
I'll just give an idea of the grape farm. So this is the Autumn Crisp block over here. Derek will tell you exactly how much water is used this year, the previous year, what the average berry size is per block. When he did this manipulation, and he can compare it to another block. So each block has to stand on its own 2 feet, and if a block's not performing, it gets taken out. So the scientific methodology behind farming is massive, and I would say table grapes is probably the most finicky, because it's very sensitive to climate changes. Yeah, berries is also massive. There's been an explosion of berries, by the way. I spoke to Andre Lombard from Corfruit and Charles Rousseau. They grained massively. Yeah, I mean, R2.5 million to invest in a block, so you must know what you're talking about. What are the right varieties? Which varieties work? And not everything's gone smoothly. I would say grapes. Neil knows grapes even better than I do, but they can tell you per block how many times the block's been handled, and then they manipulate that it's going to pack so many out. It's going to arrive in this week, but with the adverse weather, that was a bit macabre. But the guys can base all their decisions on facts. For every block, apples, stone fruit, everything arrived. Yeah.
Of course, the fruit size, specifically for the East, they want a double X or triple X, and, the color and the taste. They must perfect this. So, jou Britse supermarkte, almal is voorskrifklik, jy weet, die tyd is verby wat jy, as jy kyk, Suid-Afrika produseer omtrent 80 miljoen kartonne, as jy taalbedrywe praat, Peru is dubbel die volume, is 160 miljoen, dan sit jy met Indië, wat vroeg in die mark kom, jy sit Brazilië, Chili, wat ook aan die volume is produseer, so jy met die 80 miljoen moet iets spesifieks besonders wees, want daar is ook ander druiwe en of ander vrugte in die mark, so jy moet absoluut produseer vir wat jou verbruiker wil hê, en wat die supermark, wat sy vereistes is.
So wat is die risiko's hierso? Ek wil vrugtebedryf uitvoer, ongelooflik tegnies, ongelooflike aandag aan detail. Wat as julle so na die bedryf kyk, wat bekommer julle? Is dit markte, is dit klimaatsverandering, is dit hawens, wat as ouens wat die besigheid van bo af sien?
I think it's all of that.
Ja.
I think it's all of that. The ports are a big concern. Oversupplied markets, delays in the market, and the weather. I think the weather's a big. Derek will be chatting to him just now. On the specific farm, he put plastic up, which saved him, but other people didn't. I was going to go back to one point. You spoke about satisfaction, whatever. I was at ZZ2 last week. We supply all the Ava cartons. They showed me videos of the arrivals in Rotterdam. There must have been 200,000 to 300,000 cartons. They stood like soldiers. You feel good when you see that, because it's a job done, and the guys said to me, that's why we support you. So I've still left it my old age, happy and pleased to see that we're doing good stuff, but it doesn't stop, as Neil said. You've got to continually ask and see, because the trick is to cut costs but not corners, and most of the time when the carton price is low, you cut in the costs and you compromise your carton. So the trick is to save those costs, but make sure your carton is still as strong as it should be, and that we don't want to compromise that.
The two of you, I mean, looking back on your life, I understand it because I've been at your plant. But did you ever think that you could get that excited about a cardboard box? I mean, you see the cardboard box standing there, and it's a thing of beauty, really.
No, it is. Oh, no.
Jy weet, en van die karton se koste, 70% is papier. So, as jy 3 of 5% kan uithaal of meer, dan kan jy 5 of 7% goedkoper produk in die mark sit, maar soos Ender ook sê, jy weet, om daai koste uit te haal, die risiko
Is massief.
is massief, en dis wat Impact voorstaan. Ons sit nie 'n karton in die mark voor ons om nie die karton getoets het vir 2 maande op die water of in 'n koelkamers nie voor ons nuwe produkte in die mark sit nie, want die skade wat die produsent kry, sy handelsmerk kry skade as sy produk in 'n mark aankom wat die karton nie goed lyk nie, vir Impact is dit skade. So uit 'n risikokant papier, so ek sê, is ons grootste produksiefaktor. Oorseese papier met die sterker rand is daar ook geleenthede, maar ook risiko's in die hawe, wat Andrew sê, die Midde-Ooste situasie tans. Maar vir die produsent self, jy weet, dit is 'n riskante bedryf, dit is 'n bederfbare produk, so jou reën, jou haal, jou droogtes. Maar is 'n wonderlike bedryf, die vrugte en die groente en waar ons kartonne verskaf. Ons verskaf in papier, ons besigheid is papier, so of dit in 'n melkboks is of in 'n kersieboks is, en dis die wonderlikheid van die bedryf waarin is enigiets met papier vervaardig ons.
Ek wil net vra, jy weet, die mense praat oor landbou, en ek wil, landbou is regtig, Suid-Afrikaanse landbou is van die beste in die wêreld. Ek dink ons kan almal saamstem daarmee, maar baie kere, jy weet, die gewone man op die straat sien landbou as die boer op die plaas, maar daar's 'n hele waardeketting en ondersteuningsnetwerk. Ek was nou vroeër vanoggend by besproeiingsmense hier so in die Parel, en 'n mens het nie altyd 'n waardering dat die ondersteuningsnetwerk is julle wat die verpakking voorsien, is ook wêreldklas. Want dit speel alles saam om daai produk by die mark te kry, korrek? Of dit nou die besproeiing is, die bemesting, die verpakking, en het ons altyd 'n waardering van die wêreldklas ondersteuningsbedrywe wat ons het.
Wat ook nice is, dis 4de, 5de generasie kinders wat nou deurkom and hulle deel informasie, hulle working groups. For example, let's say Derek was struggling with a block. He'll call a mate of his, Boerman Leftley, who I know as well. He said, "Oh, Hansie Brits, Hansie, kom kyk gou hierso, help my gou, wat dink jy?" Hy sê, "Nee." So we've seen a lot more cooperation and guys working together
than previously.
and then previously. It's actually been fantastic, and these working groups, the technical groups, used to be like very isolated, but now they share information and they grow together. I know someone like ZZ2, they say, let's all grow together, let's all be stronger together. So it's really good, particularly when guys are struggling with a tomato or a grape. They can ask Neil next door. So Neil, kom kyk, yes, ek het dit gedoen en dit werk. And we've seen the guys help each other a lot more than they did previously. Yeah.
I want to end off. We're talking about world-class agriculture, wêreldklas landbou. Ons sit hier so in die Parel op die wonderlike tafeldryfplaas. Net met die pad af hier so het ons Paul Thim en Paul Boys en oorkant die bevel hier so dus nou vir
Paul
Roos en in die stad het ons nou vir Saks en vir Wynberg en Bishops en al die manne. Ons skole, ons sit seker in die middel van beste skole rugby in die wêreld. Dan moet sluit ons dan natuurlik kry en al die manne in. And Andrew, you've been very involved with schoolboy rugby. How important is the schoolboy rugby in keeping our rugby at this high level that it's at?
What I get fascinated to see, these guys are getting bigger, they're getting faster, they're getting stronger, they're being more skilled, it's getting more competitive, and it's amazing. It's like a rugby factory. I mean, these two schools here are actually the draw card in Paul. This is the Chum, this is the Chum and the Parel and the Polrus as well. And you've got Stellenberg suddenly that have come out of nowhere, but they've been working on it. Gary van Lochrenberg from Sunderland was telling me they've been working on a 5-year program with this, so they've got proper systems in place. So I think it's professional, but what it's awesome, there's a big feeder system into the Springbok rugby, junior Springboks. And if you look at all the positions higher up, there's 4 or 5 people that can step in, you know. So I think it's super healthy. I just think a key is you just got to have a balance. It's not life and death. If they lose a game, it's not the end of the world.
Well, it's life and death for them.
For them, I know Skalkberger, when he spoke at the CJ, he just said, guys, what's advice? Someone asked him, what advice do you want to give your kids? Just enjoy it. And I think sometimes the people get a bit tense.
Especially the parents.
Yeah.
Ek weet wel, ek voel ook baie sterk daarvoor. Ek is gelukkig nie vir my seun het ook hy was in Porus bevoorreg geweest en dat ek weer gespeel dan. Ek het ook altyd maar net ondersteun en gesê geniet dit. En dan as daar ouers langs jou staan, dink ek, jy weet dat die verwagting van hulle is so groot. Hierdie man moet 'n Springbok raak en op die einde van die dag hulle maar net 'n kind wees en hulle wil dit geniet. Maar ongelukkig die druk op skole, op onderwysers, op afrigters, that raak eintlik te groot.
No, you're right, it's huge. So that's the balance side, but I think our rugby's healthy. I mean, these guys are really good and they're big and they're talented, and it's just amazing to see where our rugby is at the moment. So I think Russie's got a good problem. Who does he leave out? Not so much. Who must he choose? Yeah.
So ons is nou goeie vriende met Daan Iman. Hy boer daar verkeerde vleis. Ons doen nogal as landbeweegte nogal bietjie saam met Daan Iman. So ons ken die manne. Ons het ook 'n hele Springbok storie, maar net uit julle oogpunt, wat kry ras julle reg? Jy weet ons die Suid-Afrika se rugby het been its ups and its downs, maar vir my nou ons het nou ons plek gevind. Wat kry Rassie reg wat die ander ouens nie reg gekry het? Wat het verander? Julle twee wat nou rugby gespeel het. Wat is julle opinie daar?
I've got a quick story which will tell you about Transmart Herber. I hope he doesn't mind me, but I'm going to tell it. So he wasn't chosen. He played 2 years SA schools in Brugstraat. He wasn't chosen for the S under-20s for whatever reason. And Rassie asked him for a cup of coffee and said to him, don't worry about this. He was playing for the Stormers then. He said, I'm going to give you your first Springbok cap. I'm going to give you your 50th Springbok cap. You're going to win World Cups. You're going to be one of the best players ever. And I think that type of support that he gives the players that people don't know about, France will die for that chap. He will die for him. And he gets that right. All those people really play for him. People say you play for your mom and your country and for your sister. You play for your coach. you play for your coach, the most important thing. And if you've got a connection there, you've got it. It's been amazing how he's got that right for so long. I believe he's brutally honest with the guys. There's no secrets. He doesn't talk to Neil on his own. It's all open. So you can't say, but I didn't know about that. So brutally honest, but unbridled support and faith in the players. And for that, he gets those guys, because those World Cup wins 1-1. The team culture pulled them through. The team culture pulled that through. Pipped them in the end. And that's where the other guys knocked. So that was from Mother with Neil.
Ja, nee, 100% stem wat Andrew sê. Jy weet die kultuur wat Rassie daar skep, die eerlikheid wat hy het met spelers, jy weet, sy passie wat hy het. Ek genoem baie keer iemand soos Nick Mellet. Ek was bevoorreg het saam met Nick gespeel en hy was 'n baie goeie afritter op Nick, en 'n groot deel van Nick se sukses was sy passie. En dit sien by die huidige spelers op die familieband wat jy eintlik kan sê wat daar is. En dan is, soos eerder al gesê, die strukture van skole rugby af, onder 20 rugby, en waar Rassie, as jy kyk die beleidingskamp wat hy nou 'n paar weke gelede gehad het, van die jong manne, Riley Nortons, wat hy ook al vroeg intrek, vertroue in hulle het.
Marcus Miller was ook saam.
Ja, so dit is en Rassie self, hy's 'n ongelooflike denker. Onthou oor sy jare wat hy vir Cheetahs afgerig het, wat hy op die paviljoen met die speel sit. Dit so, hy dink regtig uit die boks uit, en die spelers het soveel vertroue in hom. So dit is 'n baie goeie posisie waar Suid-Afrika is, maar ons moet ook besef die ander wêreldlande is amper so skole rugby waar jy Greygarder wat vir baie jaar oorheers het, die ander skole het gekom en gesê, yes, ons wil 'n grey wees of 'n tweede grey wees, en nou sien jy daar's 10 spanne wat enigeen kan hy nou bo eindig.
Laas jaar was het Paul Boys van jare te Stellenberg.
Ja, vorige jaar was Paul Roos.
But it's interesting, I was privileged to have met Montranas, was his name, the hooker for hy het ook vir die wêreldbeker gespeel. So he played the whole final. Dion Ferré. I met him the first time. That was 40s. And he was chosen because he's tough and he's a team guy. He wasn't the best hooker. There were better oaks than I could throw in better. But he was a tough one. Came on 2 minutes into the game and he did it because Rassie knows what that guy's value is. He's going to steal 5 or 6 balls. Yes, he might miss 3 or 4 lineouts, but that's going to pull you through when it gets tough. He's 40. He says to me after that Edinburgh game, he says, "Yes, Matty, I'm getting old now." I was stuffed. But he's got slopes, he's got some petrol in the tank still, and I think choosing those right people is the key. So you get the mix right. Yeah. Showboaters, no go. There's no place for showboaters or people that are selfish. They're the guys that he wants oaks that can dig in, and he chose the right people. 100% right.
Yeah. And honest with everyone.
Yeah.
That's what I've always heard. He's very honest with his players, and jy weet waar hulle kan verbeter, werk daar. As jy gaan kyk before hy daar iemand, as jy kyk waar Daan was en waar hy vandag is voor hy afrigter, hy bring die manne na sy plaas toe, en dit bring net 'n ander kultuur, ek dink na die span toe ook, om te sê, yes, ek gee reg vir hom, ek wil hê jy moet 'n wêreldklasspeler raak, en so is dit van elke posisie. En wat anders sê, die samestelling van sy span, sy kyk waar hy vir Scout Brits, wat 'n groot rol gespeel het, die karakter, die mens,
yeah, he was going to carry bags. He was coming to carry bags. And if you don't want to carry bags, I'll find someone. Listen, you can still play in. I remember he still said he had a meeting with Marks and Bongi. He said, "Listen, I'm out to support him." He was like, "Technically, can't be." But he did. I mean, he still went. I said, "Marks, listen, on the line out, bring your arm in here and listen, check on that scrum." He's doing it. So he got a complete bind. Because normally on a tour, you get the people that don't play. Brits was saying you hope the team would lose so that he could play. So now you've got all the guys that are all in it together. And that's something unbelievable to do.
Ja, jy weet, Chris, jy weet, vandag se manne verdien goeie geld wat goed is. Dis hulle professie. Weet, ek en Andrew, ons het studeer, ons het gaan werk. Ons het ons het maar 5 uur, 6 uur, gelukkig verkeer was nog nie so. In 'n baie stadium waar het jy gaan oefen 3 aande, 4 aande in 'n week na dit. Ek sê maar die vriende wat jy gemaak het en die herinneringe. Ek kan eers ek sê ons kom soveel jare saam en dis wonderlik, jy kom by 'n plek en dis net al hierdie lekker stories wat weer uitkom, en dis op die einde mos tog baie belangrik, of van die belangrikste dinge in die lewe, om lekker herinneringe te hê, as jy terugkyk, al as jy bietjie begin ouer raak, dan is dit die wonderlikheid van die vrugtebedryf, die kartonnebedryf, en die rugby, net soos Andrew sê, be kind to people, dit vir die kliënt vir jou is, of nie 'n kliënt of 'n vriend is nie, en dan kan dit eintlik met jou goed gaan.
En ek dink dit is wat ons gaan doen in hierdie reeks, is ons gaan bietjie praat oor die passie, ons gaan bietjie herinneringe maak, en ons gaan ook bietjie praat oor die spanwerk, nee, want dit is wat landbou is. Julle is deel van die span wat agter die boere is, om daai produk oor see te kry. So, baie dankie vir julle beide. Ek kan nou op sy staan, sodat julle met die boere gaan praat. Ons sien baie uit om te hoor wat se stories julle gaan opdiep. En dit was ons eerste aflewering van hierdie potgooi wat ons saam met Impact doen. Die voorste verskaffer van verpakkingsmateriaal in die landboubedryf. Neil Hifu en Andrew Patterson hier saam met my. Hulle gaan nou oorneem. Hulle gaan bietjie met die boere gesels oor daai spanwerk en passie wat Suid-Afrikaanse landbou van die beste, indien nie die beste in die wêreld maak nie.